Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Trek Canon. So today I'm doing a review of Season 3, Episode 6 of Star Trek Lower Decks, Hear All, Trust Nothing. So I was trying to hide my giddiness, at the intro of this video because as we all know, I am a fan of Deep Space Nine. It is to me, hands down, far leaps beyond. It is the best Star Trek series that they've ever had. All right, Deep Space Nine. Now, so when I heard that the Cerritos was going to be visiting Deep Space Nine, I was really excited. Now, I got a chance to watch this episode when it aired, but because of how I work and because, like I said, I wanted to start doing the reviews a little bit after everybody else because I started thinking that people was watching my videos and then taking out the little stuff that they didn't know about and putting it in their reviews, man. And I was feeling a certain kind of way about that, man, because I'm like, hold up, man, you can at least be like, yo, reference Trek Canon, man, but I can't prove anything like that. I'm just gonna be like, that's what happened. But anyway, um so I finally got a chance to sit down and do this video, and let's go, man. Look, first of all, this episode, like I was saying, was called Hear All, Trust Nothing. And the main synopsis of what's going on in this episode is that um, the Karama basically opens up a communication back to Starfleet basically back to the Federation, hoping to reopen negotiations for trade with the Delta Quadrant. With the Gamma Quadrant. Now, the thing is that for people who don't know who the Karama are, they made quite a few visits to Deep Space Nine, and Cisco and Quark even went over there to talk to the Karma about the Tula Berry wine, man. Like, I always wanted to taste the Tula Berry wine. I wonder what does it taste like. What does Tula Berry wine taste like? But anyway, they were pretty much neutral in a Dominion fight. They're pretty much the Gamma Quadrant merchants. They're like Ferengi, but with a better work ethic and money ethic. But we got a chance to go back and visit those guys. Now, what's going on is that the Cerritos is tasked with taking over this negotiation because the captain who was gonna do it had got called away on a mission. So when the episode opens up, right, they're approaching Deep Space Nine, man. You get the Deep Space Nine intro music, which I was like, oh, here we go. Let me make me a drink. But anyway, you get the Deep Space Nine intro music, and what was really cool, man, Commander Ransom was basically like, oh man, just fly around it like we're in all of the pylons, And so they had the little cut shots, just like it was the opening of Deep Space Nine, talking about some, oh yeah, keep cycling, and they even had the wormhole open up. The only thing they were missing, man, was the Defiant. I'm pretty sure that was probably some type of, issues with who owns rights, all that kind of stuff that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I just wish that the Defiant was there. So having that going on was great. Now, of course, I took some notes, all right, because I wanted to kind of stay on track, because a lot of times I go off rambling and stuff. Like, a dude told me, right, that I talked 57 seconds before I got to the point. And I like to say, man, 57 seconds, it's all of a minute. If you ain't got a minute, man, to listen to the intro, man, to set up, man, get to know each other, man, see how we do it, how the day is going. Then something's wrong. There's just something wrong with that. We're family, man. 57 seconds for family. So anyway, um, so the plot isn't really split up like it normally is in a Lower Decks episode. It's pretty much a straight plot, you know. So we get to see Quark, man. We get to see Kira. Come to find out that Shax knows Kira. Now think about Shax, right, and Kira's relationship with all of the stuff and saving that they was doing with each other. Do you guys think that Shax was part of the what was it, of the Shakar resistance? Do y'all think he was part of the Shakar resistance? I don't think so, because he wasn't referenced in when the rest of the Shakar resistance came, to meet Kira and talk about, hey man, we're being hunted. He wasn't mentioned. You know what I'm saying? But that would be pretty cool if they had made that reference or something like that to Shax, because their relationship was just awesome, man. Who saved whose lives, how many times and all that stuff. Captain Freeman, she was basically off in the background like she normally is, because it's a show focused on the junior enlisted. So she was off, you know, uh, getting ready for this, for these negotiations and everything. Now we go to Tendi, right? Now Tendi and Rutherford, they're basically trying to transport stuff around Deep Space Nine. They got cargo and stuff that they need to put up. And one of the people that they run across while they're in Quarks, look, let me stop. Okay, Quarks, yes, we revisited Quarks. Now, it was some faces that I knew wasn't gonna be there, man. But Rom, I know he's off being the Grand Nagus. Lita, I know she's off helping Rom be the Grand Nagus. Nog, we already know what happened to Nog. You know, so it would been nice to see Rom. Some reference to Nog or something like that, man. We did get to see Morn, so that's always awesome, being as talkative and talking everybody off as he normally does. And is it me, or as soon as I seen Quarks and the door slid open, was anybody else expecting to hear double? They did put it in there a lot, but as soon as the doors was open, man, I was thinking, oh man, did nobody scream Dabo? But I'm gonna get into the Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff that they had in this episode. I'm a little excited, but I'm trying to move along with the review. So while they was in, Tendi and Boimler was up inside Quarks, they ran across another Orion that was stationed on Deep Space Nine. It was Orion security officer, and a male guy. His name was what was his name? Mosk. But the thing about Mosk is that when you meet him, he seemed one of those types of people who was like, oh man, I'm really into our culture, and this is, our history, this is what we do as Orions. I still even have my Orion pirating things they let me wear on my uniform, which they do let species, they have the ability to wear their cultural icons on their uniforms. Think about Worf's sash. Think about Ensign Rolarin's earpiece. So that's something that's in canon. Now, the thing is, though, you get the impression that Tendi wasn't really feeling, Mosk. She wasn't really feeling the fact that he was reveling. When I was looking, I was like, man, it's kind of like the difference between, when you see somebody who's really into their culture, but in a way of stereotypes, it seems like they're pushing the stereotypes or the negative aspects of their culture, you know what I mean? Especially around people who you don't necessarily want to know those negative aspects of that culture, you know what I mean? So it was kind of hit close to me for the fact that we get asked a lot to explain the actions of our the people who doing these negative stereotypes, like for instance Kanye wearing a White Lives Matter, him and Candace. I said there would be no political talk on this show, and there will be no political talk on this show. Just get back to Star Trek. But anyway, that was the dynamic that I seen between Tendi and Mosk, And as the episode went on, you could see that she was getting really irritated. And Rutherford, he was basically like, oh, wow, man, this sounds exciting and everything like that. But the thing is that when it boiled down to it, when those skills were necessary, those aspects of the culture would have been necessary, he kind of he very much so fell short. And I'm going to get into that. Now, we talk about, like I said, we was with, one thing that they did cover with Tendi was that we know now that she's one of the Orions that don't release the pheromones. So now I told her, because for like the last 3 years I've been wondering, how's she not tripping everybody on the ship out, man? When Archer had 3 of those Orions, they was fine. When he had 3 of those Orions come on board, everybody was tripping. You know what I mean? So you got this girl, okay, but she's not one of the Orions that emit the pheromones. That's fine. So we go over to what's going on with Quark. We find out that he has franchises all over everywhere and everything, and it's mostly due to this drink that he has that comes out to Quark 2000. All right. Now, I talked about missing Nog and Rom. Of course, seeing Morn at the bar in his same spot. Now what ends up happening is that Quark is doing real well, of course, right? And the karma ends up kidnapping him, kidnapping Quark. Okay, and Tendi, Rutherford, and Mosk is on the ship because they was basically putting some items on that ship. They end up getting trapped on that ship when the Karama basically disables Deep Space Nine and Orville with some type of EM pulse. All right, now which locks everybody in their room, and I'm gonna get to the whole lock in the room thing in a minute because that part just cracked me up. So anyway, so Tendi and Rutherford and Moss, they have to basically take over this ship. And they're like, Moss, man, you know, this is the perfect example to do what you've been talking about doing. All through this episode, you've been talking about how great your pirates and Orion's pirate and this and all that kind of stuff. Here's the way to go. Come to find out, Moss, man, is from Cincinnati, man. He got a Orion from Cincinnati, man. And that's usually how it works. That's usually how it works. You find these people, man, that be invested in those negative stereotypes, right? Come to find out that they're not even abreast of the culture. They embrace these stereotypes because this is what people expect them to have. This is what they see on TV. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Moss from Cincinnati wasn't able to live up to it. But Tendi, we already know she part of the syndicate. You know, she tries to shy away from all of that, but she part of the syndicate. So it was easy for her to jump back into a thing, man. And she was badass going through the ship, taking over the ship. Dude, she even jacked this dude's gold tooth. That's a pirate for you. That's a pirate for you. She got the booty. And for people who starting to think, well, that's actually the terminology that pirates use for their treasure, the booty. So anyway, they end up, man, rescuing Quark. Come to find out, Quark was being arrested because he took a piece of the Karama technology a while back and put it into this device. He used this codes to kind of manipulate the taste and everything. And that's why Quark was so successful. Come to find out that to smooth things over with the Karama, Captain Freeman was basically like, look, y'all can have 76% of all the of all Quark's businesses, his whole franchise. You got 76%. And it was cool because they was like, she was like, well, ain't you happy you didn't have to go to, you know, you broke but you out of jail? He was like, nah, man. You know, of course that's Quark. Quark like, look, ain't nothing besides selling weapons of mass destruction or weapons, period. It ain't nothing that Quark was like, oh no, man, I'd rather be rich. So when we switch over to Mariner, right? She's visiting her girl, right? I forget Jen. Dan, that's her name. She's visiting Jen, who's on the space station, right? Jen is the Andorian girlfriend of hers. And she's feeling a little bit worried because people refer to her as being bossy. Now, for people who don't know, all right, and this is more along the lines of, say, for black women, all right, if you call a black woman bossy, all right, there are certain connotations that's taken from that. And most of them are negative because to be assertive, to be confident, to be a critical thinker, all right, to be able to have proper delegation abilities, when it comes from somebody like a black woman, all right, they consider that as being bossy. Oh, she's bossy. No, she's trying to do a job in a professional manner. You know what I mean? So, but Mariner took that wrong, as she should. You know, she was being a little worried about that because she didn't want to come off that way to her friends. She wanted to present a different side of herself. And that was the basic theme of this episode. Being cool with who you are. You know what I mean? Like, not having to adjust for anybody. And that's kind of a double-edged sword, too. Because if you're in a team, you know, you're in a group, you're in a structure, all right? It's fine to think outside the box, to push the envelope, to question the status quo. You know what I mean? But if your whole goal is individuality or standing out, you know what I mean? The only thing that you do is cause chaos to the system because people can't predict how you operate in that system, whether that system is friendship, whether that system is teamwork, whether that system is trying to achieve a goal, or anything that involves multiple people trying to work together, getting through their idiosyncrasies and using their experiences and expertise to accomplish a mission. You know what I'm saying? So there's a way to stand out but still be standing in. I hope you know what I mean. So the thing is that she goes to this party and everything, man, and she walks in and it's all these like super bougie, like Starfleet ensign chicks, right? Excuse me females, right? It's all these, real bougie, real stuck up, and if you was to ask me what okay, first of all, I don't really liberals and conservatives, I mean, whatever. But if you were to ask me what is a true liberal, you know what I mean, is in the eyes of what most people think it is, that whole room was them. That whole room was them. Lighting candles, man, talking about their feelings and snapping and all that kind of stuff. You know, that real bougie, uppity, you know, arrogant, conceited type, you know, thing. But we given an image of we supporting you and we want to be friends with you, and that crap. Which is why I was happy when Jen told her, hey, listen, I brought you because I wanted you to put these people in their place, man. Act like you normally act. And she just started stunning everybody, because when the lights went out, when the power went out, they was noticing that the oxygen was dropping faster than normal, right? And come find out it was because of all these candles. But people don't want to blow out the candles. And now y'all want to argue and talk and debate. Now y'all wasting more oxygen. I'm going to stun everybody. So you just had all these people running around the room, man. She standing up on this table, man, just stunning people. And the only thing I was thinking to myself was, this is the best part of this episode ever. I love this part of this episode. Anyway, they end up stunting themselves. I don't know why they felt that would be useful, but they stunned themselves so that when other people woke up, they'll think that everybody just got stunned. No, man, they remember that stuff. That's why they were scared of you by the end of it, right? So the thing is that I was, when the cameraman pulled up to the wormhole opened and the ship just stopped. Was I the only person thinking and wishing that we would have at least heard Cisco's voice or something, man, to reference the emissary of the prophets being, you know what I mean? Like, but speaking of, did y'all notice that Kira had the baseball on the table? She's still rocking the baseball. And that's what I'm saying, man. Kira was just, after she accepted the fact that he was the emissary and the captain, and he was just an all-around awesome dude, she had his back no matter what. She had his back no matter what. Excuse me. So we go into the shout-outs, man. Now, wait. I ain't talking about Boorman too much in this, man, because Boorman, guess what he was doing? All through the episode, he's sitting in Quarks, man, just gambling, making all this gold, natting them, man, and at the end of it, he says, oh, man, just put this in credits because we don't use money in Starfleet. So people in Starfleet go down there to gamble and do all these types of things because it's a fun, interactive activity. We don't need, to do this. We don't have a gambling addiction. It's just something fun that we do. They also had one of the lower decks guys reference going up there to the second level and dangling their feet over the ledge. That's something that's a straight up call back to Nog and Jake. Something that they used to do when they were shorties. All right, they mentioned the mirror universe Smiley. You know what I mean? Yeah, whatever happened to Smiley, man? Whatever happened with that after they got the Defiant up and running, kicking butt over there in the mirror universe? All right, they mentioned the Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Is Garrick back over there? Is Garrick still on the promenade? I thought he was back on Cardassia and help reconstruct Cardassia, but he might still be over there on the promenade, man. So of course we get to know 2 or 3 more rules of acquisition, man. When you got a Ferengi episode, you got to have rules of acquisition. Speaking of, hear all, trust nothing. That's rule of acquisition 190. That's the name of the episode. All right, so we got to do a lot, man. We covered a lot in this episode, man. I'm trying to get through this to where y'all ain't on here watching this video for 25 minutes. But overall, the episode was a great episode. I really enjoyed this episode. The message behind the episode, how to get along with other people, how to be professional at your job, and how to exist in a team while still trying to maintain who you are. All right, the truth of who you are. All right, so I think everybody learned a lot in this particular episode, man. As far as Tendi, when she came around and understood Mosk, as far as why you shouldn't be repping cultures and repping things that you have no idea about, being from Cincinnati, man. Come on. So let me know what you guys thought of the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and take a look at some of the other videos for any of my new subscribers take a look at some of my other videos that you guys probably would find a lot interesting, because I dive not only into reviews, but I go into all kinds of explorations of episodes, concepts, the technology and everything behind it, the individual people. Like, it's a lot that I cover on my channel because it's a lot in candy. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. And as always, peace, recycle, and say the whales. You guys be cool.